So next one, biasing of BJT. So the definition of biasing is to operate the transistor in the desired region. For that, we need to apply a external DC voltage of the correct polarity and magnitude of the two junction of the transistor. This is called as biasing, which means we have to apply the external DC voltage with the same magnitude and polarity, with correct polarity and magnitude at the two junction of the transistor. For example, in a any one configuration, maybe a common emitter, common collector or common base, we need to apply the input junction as forward bias or reverse bias. Likewise, output junction is forward bias or reverse bias. So by the way, we have to apply the correct polarity and magnitude, which is going to be operate the transistor in a desired region. So here the desired region means based on the transistor applications, we have to operate the transistor in a three different regions, that is cutoff region, active region and saturation region. If for example, if the transistor operate in an active region means it acts as an amplifier circuit, where or else it may be act as a switch. It is operated in a cutoff or else saturation regions. So based on the bias, the transistor is going to operate at three region. So that biasing is also called as a DC biasing. The reason is we have to apply the DC voltage of the two junctions. That is called as a DC biasing. So if we apply the reverse bias to the input junction, that is emitter base junctions, and the collector base junction also reverse bias, then the transistor operate in a cutoff region. So in that time the current value is 0. So it become a open switch. There is no current flow in that circuit. So it acts as a open switch. Next condition operation is active region. That is, we are going to apply the forward bias to the emitter base junction and reverse bias to the collector base junction. At that time, the transistor act as an amplifier. And third region is saturation region. So here in both the junctions should be applied in a forward bias. Both the junctions, we have to apply a forward bias to both the junction. That time the transistor works as an closed switch, because both the junction become a forward bias, so the current flow is high. I value is high. So at that time the flow of current is conducted in that circuit, so it become act as a closed switch. So from that points we have to conclude that biasing of BJT is nothing but we have to apply the external DC voltage with the correct polarity and magnitude of the two junction of the transistors. Is it okay? Next one, operating point. So operating point is also called as a TC point or quotient point. The definition of operating point is when we bias a transistor, that is, we applied a biasing to the circuit with establish a certain voltage and current conditions for that transistor, right? So whenever we are going to apply the bias to the circuit, that is external DC voltage to the circuit, that time that circuit establishes a certain amount of voltage and current. That voltage and current value is referred as operating point, quotient point or DC point. Next one, stability factor. So the operating point must be stable for proper operation of the transistor, right? So first point is the Q point must be stable. Stable na, it should be any one of the region, that is active region, cutoff region or else saturation region. Then only it become a proper operation of the transistor, right? And then the operating point, anyway the operating point shift with changes in the transistor parameter. For example, if the operating point is stable at active region means there is a possibility to shift the operating point maybe in a saturation region or else cutoff region due to the transistor parameter. So transistor parameter is nothing but beta value, that is current gain. and ICO, reverse saturation current, and VBE, base emitter voltage. These three parameters are the transistor parameter. So if these parameters value changes, the Q point also possible to change that desired position to another position. So transistor parameters are temperature dependent. So operating points also varies with change in temperature. So this there are 3 points is that these 3 points is going to shift the operating point into any other region, right? So first point is the operating point must be stable for proper operation of the transistor. That is, it should be present in any one of desired region. It may be example active region. And the second point, anyway there is a possible to change the operating point into any other region due to the transistor parameter, that is current gain and base emitter voltage, reverse saturation current. Third point is transistor parameter are also a temperature dependent. So operating point also varies with change in temperature. So if temperature changes, automatically the transistor parameter is going to change. If transistor parameter changes means automatically it shifts the operating point to any other region. So from that point, the stability factor indicates that the degree of change in operating point due to variation in transistor parameter, right? So the stability factor is defined as the degree of change in operating point. So change in operating point is nothing but collector current. It is going to be varied with respect to beta, ICO and VBE. So from the definition, we can define 3 stability factor, S, S dash, S double dash. Why is the 3 term means we have a 3 transistor parameter. So every transistor parameter is going to give a 1 stability factor. So first one, S equal to the degree of change in collector current, that is operating point to IC divided by due to variation in reverse saturation current, ICO. So the remaining 2 parameter VBE and beta constant. And second stability factor S dash. So S dash is nothing but the degree of change in the operating point, that is change in the collector current due to the variation in base emitter voltage. The remaining 2 parameter ICO and beta are constant. And third one S double dash. So S double dash is defined as the degree of change in the collector current due to the variation in beta, that is current gain. The remaining 2 term, that is ICO and VBE are constant. Is it clear? So that's all about the biasing, operating point and stability factor. Is it clear? And then next topic is DC load line. DC load line. So for that we have to consider a fixed bias circuit. So in fixed bias circuit, the DC analysis replace a capacitor with an open circuit because reactance of capacitor become infinitive. So we can remove the capacitors in a open circuit. So this is the fixed bias circuit. So in that circuit we have to remove the capacitor because DC analysis the value of capacitance become infinitive. So we have to replace the capacitor. So in that circuit we have to consider an input, that is space circuit. So here we are going to apply the KVL. So Kirchhoff voltage law. So total voltage around the loop equal to 0. So VCC minus IBRB minus VBE equal to 0. So from that equation VCC minus VBE equal to IBRB. So from that base current IB equal to VCC minus VBE by RB. This is equation 1. And then consider an output circuit, that is output loop, collector circuit. So from that collector circuit we are going to apply again Kirchhoff voltage law. So VCC minus ICRC minus VCE equal to 0. So from that equation we have to find the collector current IC. So IC is equal to VCC minus VCE by RC. So we know in common emitter configuration the current gain factor beta equal to output current divided by input current, that is IC by IB. So from that equation we have to find out IC, collector current IC is equal to beta into IB. right? So next one, the base emitter voltage. Base emitter voltage VBE is nothing but base voltage minus emitter voltage. Likewise, the collector emitter voltage VCE is equal to VC minus VE. But in a fixed bias circuit, there is no emitter voltage. So we have to consider emitter voltage is 0. So from that, the base emitter voltage become base voltage and the collector emitter voltage become collector voltage. Now substitute this voltage into second equation, this value into second equation. The second equation is nothing but IC is equal to VCC minus VCE by RC. Right? So here VCC minus VCC is nothing but VC. So in here the IC value become 0, right? Because VC minus VCC is equal to 0. So in equation 1, the base current is controlled by RB. So in that equation, the base current is controlled by RB. That is nothing but if we have to change the RB value, the base current also changed, right? If RB value is low means base current is increased. If RB value, base resistance value become high means then base current become low. Likewise, in equation 2, IC is not function of RC because the IC current is 0. If we have to choose any value of RC, it may be a high collector resistance or low collector resistance, there is no possible to change the collector current because VC is equal to VC. So here collector current is not dependent on RC, it's not functioning of RC. So it will not affect the base current or collector current in the active region. Is it clear? In equation 1, the base current is dependent on base resistance. But in equation 2, the collector current is not dependent on collector resistance. But we have a relation with base current and collector current. So IC is not functioning of RC. For any value of RC is not going to be change the value of base current or collector current in an active region. Is it clear? Now, DC load line of transistor is the straight line drawn on the output characteristics of the transistor. DC load line is nothing but we have to draw the one straight line on a output characteristics of a transistor. Fixed bias is a common emitter circuit. We know the output characteristics of common emitter circuit. So this output characteristics is nothing but we have to draw the graph between collector current and the collector emitter voltage. So in that graph we have to draw the straight line which is called as a DC load line. Already we derive equation 2, that is IC is equal to VCC by RC minus VCE by RC. Now comparing this equation with the equation of straight line. Why we compare straight line? Because the DC load line is a straight line drawn on the output characteristics of the transistor. So we have to compare this equation with the straight line. So the straight line equation is y equal to mx plus c, where m is the slope of the line and c is the intercept on y axis. So by comparing these two equations, to draw the straight line on the graph of IC versus VCE, which having a slope of 1 by RC and intercept VCC by RC. So by drawing the straight line, we need 2 points A and B. For the 2 points, we have to consider two assumptions. That is, one is VCE equal to VCC, another one VC equal to 0. So these 2 points is very important for drawing the straight line on a output characteristics of the transistor. So the assumption of two condition is, one is VCC equal to VCE and VC equal to 0. Now to apply the condition into equation 2, that is straight line equation. So we have a equation 2 is VCC minus VCE by RC, right? So first condition is VCC equal to VCE. So substitute VCC is equal to VCE, then become 0. IC is equal to 0. So for first condition, the value of collector current is 0 because we are going to apply VCC equal to VCE. So collector current is 0. So from that answer, we get a point A. So the collector current is 0. We get a point A. So the straight line, in the straight line we get a point A. From that point the collector current value is 0 because this value is 0. So the collector current is 0. And second condition is VC equal to 0. To apply this condition into equation 2, we get the value of IC is equal to VCC by RC. From that point, we get a point B. So the point B is IC is equal to VCC by RC. The intersection curves of different values of IB with DC loading give different operating point. So in the output characteristics transistor, we drawn a DC load line with the help of 2 points A and B. That's intersection curves of different values of IB. That is, we have a different values of base current. So the straight line intersects these different IB values. We get a different operating points P, Q, R. Selection of operating point. Now we have a 3 different operating point. If the transistor works in an amplifier circuit, means the operating point should be in the middle of the active region. Then only it become a amplifier. But there is a possible to change this Q point into saturation region or else cutoff region due to the transistor parameters, right? So based on the applications, we have to selecting the operating point in the circuit. So the operating point can be selected at a different position on the DC load line, right? For example, PQR, there is cutoff region, active region and saturation region. The selection of operating point depends on its application. I already told you, right? So when the transistor used as an amplifier, the Q point should be middle of the active region, middle of the DC load line, to prevent any possible distortions. So in the middle of the DC load line, it gives a amplified signal without any distortion. Whereas the operating point near saturation region, that is the P point, which gives a clipping at the positive peaks. That is positive, some small amount of positive portion may be clipped when the operating point selected in the saturation region. And next one is the operating point or Q point selected in near cutoff region, means which gives clipping at the negative peaks. Negative peaks, some small portion of the negative waveform may be clipped when it should be selected in a cutoff region. So the selection of operating point should be based on the application of the transistor. When the transistor operates in a act as an amplifier, means the operating point should be selected in the middle of the DC load line. That is, it should be in an active region.